What's good with y'all, man? You watching AGTV, and on this episode, we're reacting to what the is Dancehall. Now, I feel happy about this one, man. Excited about this one. Y'all have Antoine Pinnock to thank for this. I'm assuming this is a documentary, you know what I mean? Giving me some background on the origins of dancehall, where it came from, you know what I'm saying? The first people that, you know, helped create it, stuff like that. I'm looking forward to see what's going on, man. You know, I'm all into the documentaries. I love documentaries. I love watching things outside of just music videos as well. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I ain't got too much to say besides that, man. Let's just get into it.
I remember it like it was yesterday. Holed up in the basement on a freezing Chicago afternoon, looking for something to warm myself up. I stumbled on King Yellowman for the first time. What is this glorious music with this hypnotic backbeat and wicked monotone vocals? But then, as I became engrossed in a playlist of this music called Dancehall, the strangest thing happened. I heard another song with the exact same beat. And then another one. And it didn't stop there.
Damn, so even back then, they was all rapping on the same beats. You know what I'm saying? Or this probably ain't considered rapping back then, but maybe it was. Maybe they did call it rapping. I don't know. But damn, they was using, it was all on the same beats even back then, because we do that now. You know what I'm saying? We hop on the same beats. You know what I'm saying?
When I heard a song with a different backing track, there would soon be another one with the exact same beat.
And all of them songs sound different. All of them sound different.
Frankly, I was too cool and enjoying the music too much to care. But as I listened to more and more dancehall, I got curious. Is this some grand copyright conspiracy that I've just unveiled? Or is there something more to dancehall than meets the eye?
Back then, it was more about the love, bro. It wasn't just about profiting, you feel me? So the copyright shit and all that, they probably didn't even know what that shit was back then, you feel me? They probably like, shit, we just love making music. We get a high off of this shit, you know? We get a natural high from making music. We ain't thinking about the money yet, you know what I'm saying? Back then, they wasn't making nearly as much as these niggas making now. The new artists that's way less legendary and way less popular than these artists that was out back then, like all these new artists that don't have no type of legacy like the old artists do, they make way more money than them artists though. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it'd be crazy. Like, new artists make more money than the old artists, you feel me?
That's all that meets the eye. Obviously, it's the latter, and I'm a little embarrassed to admit it because dancehall is huge, especially in Jamaica, the West Indies, and cities like New York, London, and Toronto. It's also just a sweeping culture full of distinct fashion, inside jokes, and unique words like pass the coochie, ranking, wrap up a draw. It developed on a totally different trajectory from a distinct fashion, inside jokes, and unique words like pass the coochie.
I ain't never heard nobody say pass the coochie before. You feel what I'm saying? Like, hey, bro, when you done with her, pass that coochie over here. I ain't never heard no shit like that. That's different. You feel me? Like, a nigga might say, you know what I'm saying, pass her to the bros, you feel me? Or, you know what I'm saying, or pass, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how that shit go. You might pass, you know what I'm saying? You could hit it and pass her to the next homie and shit, but pass the coochie? Like, people was just, that was regular to say, hey, bro, pass that coochie over here, bro. I ain't never heard that. I ain't never heard that one.
Ranking, wrap up a draw. It developed on a totally different trajectory from American rock or pop music and has quirks that many of us, or at least me, find difficult to understand. So yes, with the caveat that I'm a total newbie who just discovered this stuff some months ago, here is an introduction to dancehall, the smooth, weird, and wild music from Jamaica that has some explaining to do.
First of all, I was about to say I ain't Jamaican, but I'm going to say as black people, we ain't got to explain shit. You feel me? We do this shit and y'all watch this shit. We ain't got to explain nothing. We decide to explain. You feel what I'm saying? We choose to explain. You feel me? I'm not Jamaican, but I'm speaking on behalf of my black people. You feel me? We in this shit together. You feel what I'm saying?
From Jamaica that has some explaining to do. So first off, what exactly is dancehall?
This is where the sound systems play and DJs sing talk on records.
In the 1960s, a newly independent Jamaica had an explosion of popular music, beginning with ska, then rocksteady,
I heard of Rocksteady before. Oh, that's Rocksteady? I definitely know that type of music. So,
ska, then rocksteady, then reggae. Although many of the country's poorest residents could not afford record players, those who did own one would set up their gear outside so their neighbors could come by to hang out, listen, and dance.
man, them was the good old days, bro, when niggas, you feel me?
Come by to hang out, listen, and dance.
Niggas that just be outside playing music and the whole community just come around and get the dancing together. You feel me? People from different households and shit like that. You don't really know nobody like that besides, you know people because of the, you know what I'm saying, the neighborhood and shit. But, you know, random people from different places, they come together and they sing and dance together outside. You might have you a rap battle over here, you feel me? Niggas might get to break dancing over there. You feel what I'm saying? That was more back in the day. That's kind of before my time a little bit, kind of, sort of. I was probably born around the time where that shit was really prevalent and still happening. But shit, back in the day, bro, that's really what a good time's supposed to be, is everybody just coming together, kicking it, you know what I'm saying? Not worried about no negative shit, listening to good music and vibing out, you feel me? Like, that's really what time is supposed to be like today.
Eventually, some wise folks realized they could sell beer or snacks and invest the money into bigger and better sound systems. And thus, dance halls blossomed, becoming an informally formal part of Jamaica's inner city culture. The people who ran the sound systems were called selectors, and in addition to choosing which songs to play, they would have to keep the crowd energized by toasting. This included talking to the audience between songs or adding some hoots and howlers to the songs themselves. Eventually, some audiences grew to enjoy toasting more than the actual vocals. And in 19...
So y'all didn't call them DJs, y'all called them selectors. And y'all called talking to the crowd toasting instead of MCing. Okay. Because back in the day, in the States, if my history is correct, in the States we called, the DJs was more popping. So the DJs was popping before the rappers was popping in the States, right? And they was the real MCs. So when they used to get on the mic and talk their shit over the song that they DJing, they would say that's MCing. That's like, you feel me? That's damn near like rapping. But this, for dancehall, y'all saying y'all used to call them selectors and they used to toast to the crowd, which is different. I didn't know that. And that make more sense now on why we got certain different lingo now where y'all don't call y'all artists rappers, y'all call them artists. See, we call our artists rappers. We call them artists sometimes, but we really be saying they rappers, you feel me? But over in Jamaica, y'all be like, no, we don't call them rappers, we call them artists, you feel what I'm saying? We don't call it rap music, we call it dancehall, you know what I'm saying? So it's different.
1970, the DJ U-Roy had a hit single made up entirely of toasting called Wake the Town.
Do it, baby, do it.
With new Cascade Platinum Plus, you can load this and get this. Dare to dish differently.
If you're a homeowner in Ohio and you're still paying for your electricity, then I've got some.
You can wake it up, baby, you can wake it up.
In a sense, this is the first song ever of dancehall as a genre of music. One person who enjoyed going to dance halls around this time was Kool Herc, who lived in Kingston until he moved to New York City in the late 60s. In the following years, he would introduce the Bronx to dance parties and toasting, developing the techniques on...
I see what y'all be saying now, where y'all be saying Jamaica started rap music and shit. Y'all always say that shit, bro. And I be in the comments just looking. I ain't gonna lie, I just be looking at the comments like, bro, why do they always feel like they gotta tell me this shit, bro? Because I ain't never really looked into that shit, though. But I know that in the Bronx, like in Brooklyn and shit like that, it was a lot of Jamaicans doing their thing. So I kind of understood what y'all was saying. But like now I'm happy I get to see this on a documentary because, bro, y'all literally love telling me that. Yeah, rap music started in Jamaica. I be like, listen, okay, fine. You feel me? I be like, okay, fine. Like, okay, I get it. You feel me? But that's cool, though. I'm happy I get to see this shit right now, though, because I ain't never really looked into it, to be honest. Like,
following years, he would introduce the Bronx to dance parties and toasting, developing the techniques on the mic and on the turntable that would soon become hip-hop.
That part right there, when the break, boom, I had to come in with Bongo Rock.
But that's a whole other story. Back in Jamaica, a new decade was dawning, but while the 60s had brought a lot of optimism, the 70s would be considerably bleaker. Economic stagnation, Cold War, and political violence would be the order of the day. At one point, rival political parties were shooting each other in the streets, leading to an assassination attempt on Bob Marley and an awkward attempt to heal the country through song. It's a fascinating story, which I'll...
Crazy how they come for you when you trying to heal your people, man. Just to let you know they real agenda behind shit. They really be doing shit to benefit off us. And unless somebody come trying to heal us, they be trying to go after them type of people, you know.
cover in another video. But needless to say, these circumstances made life difficult for Jamaicans, and especially those in Kingston's poorest neighborhoods. Many of dancehall's biggest stars would come from rough backgrounds. Sugar Minot grew up in the Maxfield Avenue district, a neighborhood that, while considered a ghetto, was not the worst in Kingston. Though his family could not afford a TV, he was lucky to live in a neighborhood with 3 major sound systems. He just had to find a way to sneak through the fence, since minors were not supposed to get in. Sugar Minot had a successful career in reggae before pioneering the edgier sound that would define dancehall in the 1980s.
They used to be jamming, boy.
Yellow Man grew up in the same neighborhood at the Maxfield Children's Home, an orphanage. He was abandoned.
Damn, he called him Yellow Man. I wonder if he came up with that name for himself or they was on the block and they're like, nigga, you yellow as fuck. I'm gonna call you Yellow Man. You know what I'm saying?
He grew up in the same neighborhood at the Maxfield Children's Home, an orphanage. He was abandoned by his parents for unknown reasons, but likely due to some combination of poverty and his albinism, which was stigmatized in Jamaica. Though his early years were...
Damn, dude, he made music around that shit. That's the beauty in our music, bro. That's the beauty in dancehall. That's the beauty in rap. That's the beauty in any type of poverty-stricken music. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't even want to say poverty-stricken. I just want to say any type of music that comes from melanated people. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about things in our music, a lot of times it comes from a real place, a real like emotion and feeling, a real circumstance that we went through, and we could put it in a song and not be overly emotional about it. You feel me? We just telling our story. You feel me? Whoever accepted, whoever don't. But this is me expressing myself. That's what you gotta respect about dancehall. That's what you gotta respect about any type of music that come from us, is because it's like, if you don't understand, it's not for you to really all the way understand. It's just for me to express. You get what I'm saying?
Though his early years were incredibly difficult, being ostracized by the other kids, a silver lining came when he moved to the Alpha Boys School, a home for wayward kids that had a strong music program. By the early 1980s, Yellow Man was a huge success and one of the first dancehall singers to sign with a major American record label.
I wonder how his parents felt when they seen him blowing up and doing this thing and signing deals and shit. Like, I wonder how they felt about that, you know?
Sister Nancy grew up one of 15 kids in a 2-room house on the outskirts of Kingston.
We're like Christian-minded people, Rastafarians, and God-fearing.
She was mesmerized one night seeing her older brother take a mic at a dance hall down the street. At age 15, she decided to finally try it herself, much at the disapproval of her father, a pastor. In order to get opportunities at the mic, she would have to sneak out of the house and win over a crowd skeptical about a female DJ. As popular as dancehall was, it was reviled by Kingston's more upstanding citizens. It was seen as crude and dangerous, a culture that promotes...
Shit, what look dangerous about that?
For upstanding citizens. It was seen as crude and dangerous.
Shit, this seemed like a good time to me. You feel what I'm saying? Hey, that don't look dangerous to me. Shit, we creating life right here.
A culture that promoted drug use,
feel
sex, and violence. But for those working class kids who couldn't afford instruments, let alone music lessons, to perform in the city's upscale theaters, dancehall offered more attainable goals. They could aspire to become singers, DJs, selectors, or sound system operators. Or they could become an engineer, the person who created the backing tracks for others to sing or toast over. Starting in the late 60s, Jamaican record labels would put instrumental versions on the B-side of a single.
I want to say that too. Going back to what he said a few seconds ago about how they had different things for different kids. Like some of them could be selectors, DJs, whatever, right? This is I'm gonna put like some of y'all on game, man. For some of y'all that want to be artists, let's say you've been doing music your whole life, right? And it seemed like it really ain't going nowhere. You feel like you always been an up and coming artist, like you never got your break. You ain't like you feel like people ain't really supporting your music and stuff like that. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. So look in other areas to start your career. It ain't nothing wrong with looking over here to do this. If you got some type of talent with making beats, focus on making your beats. Cause more people gonna support you from you making beats. You wanna know why? Because you actually provide a service to them. You actually are benefiting them. As an artist, you don't really have no benefit to people besides you might make good music that they can listen to here and there. But it's not like benefiting them directly. But if you can put yourself in a position to where you can benefit people directly, you'll get paid and you'll get a lot more notoriety. You'll get a lot more support in the end. So if you could become like a DJ, you feel me, where you're going out and doing these parties, you know what I'm saying? You could provide a whole group of people that you don't have to bring out. You could provide a whole group of people that you don't have to bring out yourself with a good time, and they'll remember you for that. Oh, that's the DJ that I just requested this song and that song. So you're providing a good time to people. Either that, or you could be a beat maker. You be making beats, and you could be passing it on to these other artists that's trying to make it. You feel me? And they'll come to you and they'll be like, bro, you need to go get a beat from such and such. He just gave me the beat for this price and this. You could become a beat maker, you feel me? Or you could be a cameraman. Everybody need a cameraman. Everybody need beats. It's like you could really go about it doing a lot of different things, but just sitting around just trying to be an artist all the time, if it ain't working, you know what I'm saying? You could look in other areas to do different things. Like 9 out of 10, the people who become artists and find some success, they are known from something before they were making music. 9 out of 10 anyway. People don't tell you that part. Like most people that start making music and somehow, some way it just seemed to work for them, it usually be because they already was known for something else before they start making music. They was already working on something else before they was making music. So find out what you can work on before you really pursue the artistry, you know what I'm saying? Because once you turn your life up and start making music after that, that's when they gonna come like, oh, he already got some shit going on. All right, now I'm gonna support you, feel me? That's how that shit really go.
Jamaican record labels would put instrumental versions on the B-side of a single. Always trying to outdo one another, sound system operators like King Tubby began to process these tracks with reverb and delay, making them sound bigger and wilder at their concerts. These edited tracks became known as a dub, yet another genre to be born as a byproduct of dancehall. And yes, this is the same dub that would eventually lead to dubstep. One important thing to understand about sound systems is that they weren't just a collection of gear and technicians.
What are you talking about?
To understand about sound systems is that they weren't just a collection of gear and technicians. They became famous in their own right. They operated more like record labels with names like Gemini or Volcano, and they worked often exclusively with a handful of singers and DJs. People would often go out to see a sound system more so than the DJs that were attached to it.
I ain't never
and
know that.
one way sound systems could outdo one another was by paying for dub plates. Custom dubs that were only printed once on a single acetate record. So if the beat was a hit, the audience could only hear it by attending one of their shows. Of course, other sound systems could attempt to recreate it and have their own singers write melodies and lyrics over it. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. Over time, a number of instrumental tracks would get so popular they'd become standards. When you dive into dancehall, you come across the word riddim. That's R-I-D-D-I-M.
Riddim.
These are popular instrumental dubs that take on a life of their own, beyond whatever hit first spawned them. And there may be dozens, if not hundreds of songs using that same rhythm. For example, the songs that led off this video all used the Mad Mad rhythm, based off this song by Alton Ellis. And according to rhythmguide.com, there's over 200 songs that use it.
Damn, that'd be crazy when people be posting their beats on YouTube and people just be using YouTube beats and shit. Myself included, when I was making a lot of music, I used to use YouTube beats a lot. And it was crazy. I'm like, damn, bro, it's probably 1,000 people that got the same beat and made the best man win. You feel me? Like, that just be letting you know how shit be so crazy as far as your chances. Because it could be a beat that got 1 million views and you know that you made your song to it, right? And you know, this other person might have made their song to it. Out of that million people, if everybody looking up this beat and it got over 1 million views, that means a lot of people like this beat. And thousands of people probably use this beat. And somehow, some way, I still ain't heard this motherfucking song on the radio. That just let you know how slim your chances really are at making a hit song. Out of 1 million people that watch this motherfucker, couldn't nobody make a song to get on the radio. That shit be crazy. Then some months go by, and then one of the artists that's already popular end up having a beat, and then it be like a hit, and it be like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
Another one you heard is the Full Up Rhythm, based off this song by Jackie Mateau and Sound Dimension. Again, over 200 songs have been released using this rhythm.
I told them, hey mom, I spent 8 years on this degree, but I hate it, and I really want to change jobs. I'm sorry, I know.
In the early 80s, almost all dancehall rhythms were based off instrumental, rocksteady, and reggae tracks recorded back in the 60s. And this is a big part of what drew me into the genre. Like old school hip hop, they have a warm, nostalgic sound, beefed up with just the right amount of reverb and tape saturation. That would all change, however, in 1985, when the first digital rhythm debuted at a sound clash between the King Jammy and Gemini sound systems. The Slain Tane rhythm, which was composed with the Casio keyboard, was...
It's crazy because I can still hear little elements to the old music and the new music, though. You feel me? Like little like rhythms and shit, I still hear it in the new music, though. Like I can still hear some of this shit being played today in the new dancehall music, though. You know what I'm saying?
The Slain Tane rhythm, which was composed with the Casio keyboard, was an immediate hit.
Where my brain?
Again,
No
you'll find
cocaine.
countless more songs using this backing track, including... Another interesting tidbit here. The bass line, which came preloaded on the Casio, was allegedly inspired by Hang On To Yourself by David Bowie. So file dancehall under another genre David Bowie may have helped influence. One unfortunate side effect to dancehall's open use of rhythms is that the original creator rarely gets compensation. Likewise, singers would not always get royalties, even when their song was a hit.
Everybody wanted to hear the voice on the radio. So if a producer approach you, we do them free because they don't pay you. After 32 years I did the song, they didn't give me the money for 32 years.
This has changed somewhat over the years, as Jamaica...
Shit was just different back then, though. Like, people didn't have the knowledge they have now. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, a lot of people probably didn't even know what a copyright was back then. You feel me? They did things out of love and inspiration more so back then because it was more brand new and fresh. You know, whenever you start something brand new, you know, money shouldn't be on the front of your mind unless it's literally about business. But something like this is creative. This is like a community-based thing where we all come together having a good time and we get together to show off our talent. With stuff like that, you're not gonna go into it just automatically thinking money because you're gonna stunt your own growth doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's with anything that you're doing creatively. If you're making music, you're doing YouTube, you want to be an actor or actress, you want to do anything like that. Like, if you're just going into it just strictly thinking about money, you're going to give up quick because money don't just come right off the bat. So I doubt there was too much even thinking about money back then. If they were, they wouldn't have been doing what they was doing. You know what I'm saying? But the same thing that people may say was bad back then, like they wasn't getting paid and shit like that, is the same reason why they was able to expand it the way they was, because they wasn't so focused on money. Had they been more so focused on money, you know how many good songs may not have came out? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to look at it like that. That's how I be looking at shit.
Jamaica strengthened its copyright laws in 1993, and more artists today are able to release music internationally, in countries where it's easier to win copyright disputes. Dancehall has continued to evolve with the new styles and technology of each decade. The 90s saw stars like Shabba Ranks, while the 2000s brought Sean Paul. Tragically, many dancehall stars in the 80s fell victim to the epidemics of Tragically, many dancehall stars of the 80s fell victim to the epidemics of violence and drug use that swept through the country. However, those fortunate enough to make it through have continued writing and performing. Sugar My Knot was active for many years, including, interestingly enough, a spot on the 2006 Radio Dread compilation. He died of undisclosed health reasons in 2010. Sister Nancy relocated to New Jersey, where she left the music industry for many years, taking care of her family and working as an accountant. In 2016, however, she returned to music, due in part to renewed interest after she was sampled by Kanye West.
Bum bum ba da beat. I remember that too.
Renewed interest after she was sampled by Kanye West. She is still touring today.
That's that one song I said. To all the niggas that know me best, I still wait on what he said. Niggas that know me best, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why? I made that bitch famous. Fuck you talking about? Kanye, hey man, Kanye, you can call him crazy, whatever, but that nigga made some good ass music in his career, bro. I don't give a fuck, man. He did. You can't take that away from that man, bro.
She is still touring today. And Yellow Man, who overcame many hardships, has never stopped performing, despite at the peak of his career being told he only had 6 months to live. Being albino in a climate as sunny as Jamaica and being without access to proper care for most of his life, Yellow Man was particularly at risk for skin cancer. After developing it in the late 80s and having it spread to his jaw, Yellow Man required surgery that left his face disfigured. This, however, has done little to prevent him from touring and being one of the most popular dancehall acts in the world today. That wraps up this brief intro to the world of dancehall. Since there's probably a lot more amazing songs that I unfortunately wasn't able to include, be sure to drop your favorites in the comments below. Thanks.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro. I ain't even know Yellow Man had that whole situation going on. That's different. I ain't know that. I ain't know skin cancer could make your jaw and all that. I ain't know it could do all that to you. I thought it was just skin, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was that, man. I enjoyed that a lot. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what I'm react to next. I'm out.